having a clear low point where you know exactly where the club is supposed to bottom out for chipping, for pitching, for regular iron shots, and for the big dog is really important. If you're not clear about that, it's, you know, we all have our theories about where the low point is, but if you can't see it properly before you approach the ball and when you're over the ball, then you're going to struggle. So this video here is going to really help provide a lot of clarity for your ability to get the proper low point in your swing, which is really going to improve your ball striking. And that's what we're looking for. Now here's a fabulous illustration that I use for my students when I'm giving lessons. It's a ball and a string. So imagine the ball as the club head, the string as your shaft and arms, and where I'm holding it would be the shoulder socket, right? So I give this to gravity. And so you realize that it's not going anywhere. It's tracking a nice circle. So the more you abandon control, the tighter the circle's going to be, and the more accurate and powerful the shot's going to be. So if I have a chip shot, I'm playing the ball off my back foot. So notice where the low point is right now. It's in front of the ball. So I just bring that in, and you can see that I'm catching the tee on the way down. With the irons, basically the same thing. My stance is going to be a little wider, but you can see that the low point is still in front of that tee. So you don't want it too far in front, because if it's too far in front, you're going to have a tendency to gouge. And if it's not far forward enough, then it's going to be the driver. So this would be the driver. Can you see where the low point is now? And I'd be catching the tip of the tee on the way up. And when I do that, I have a positive angle of attack. I'm going to have a higher launch, lower spin, and way more success with that driver. So let's look at how we apply this in real life with the golf club.
So before we continue with today's video, I wanted to quickly show you guys the new collection that RIPIT Grips is coming out with December 12th. I just got all of my clubs regripped, and it feels so good to have fresh tacky grips.
This is my new grip, by the way, guys. This is a game changer. This reminds me of some of the Japanese grips that are out there. They have just the perfect tackiness, the perfect softness. I mean, it just feels like I'm going to hit better quality shots with them.
Getting fresh ones is like, oh, so
When
nice.
did they come out with this one, though? They're coming out soon.
They're coming out December 12th.
Well, that's it. So, I mean, this is just in the nick of time.
I love
So
them.
I'm gonna hold off on my new decades, and I'm gonna wait for these.
Yes. And this is the striped model. They come in the green and white, the brown and white, the white and green, and the white and red. And I interchange them on all of my irons, so it looks like a nice little bouquet of variety.
Very nice.
And then
So you can go like traditionalist and get the brown.
Yep. Can you hold that for me?
Absolutely.
And then I replaced my Big Cat grips on the driver with the new Eldrick model, which is the same kind of color concept, but
that's got the same tackiness.
yes.
Yeah.
And it has tigers and florals on it. It's so pretty. So those are my new grips.
This is
for
a great
season.
find. Congratulations, RIPIT, for next level stuff.
Yep. So I'll leave my discount code for you guys down below, and you can shop either for yourself or for somebody special in your life that plays golf for Christmas, like you.
My Christmas present.
Oh yeah, sure. That would be a good idea.
So oftentimes when we're doing a chip shot, now the hands need to be hanging forward in front of the ball so that we have a nice little descending angle of attack. You can't play the ball in the center and the club pretty much center, because in any discipline, whether you're going fishing or you're hammering or you're playing tennis, the hand always comes through first. So we play the ball back in the stance, and you'll notice where my low point is when I'm doing that. You can see that the club is going to bottom out slightly here in front of the ball, which means when I address the ball, I don't want to ground the club. Notice how my club is hovering slightly above the grass. So I am already in my arc, descending, catching the ball, descending some more to take the turf. So it's really important that you see this clearly. I'm hovering here, so it feels like the higher point is there and the lower point is there. So I've already caught my ball solid. Now, if I face the ball, I've completely negated that. I need to face my center. So I face my center, and I just bring the club back, and I'll keep it slightly in the air. Now, from there, I can just use momentum, and I'm going to have really solid contact with the ball. And you will see, I mean, this has revolutionized so many of my students, especially students who tend to ground the club back here or just ground the club there. Well, if the low point is there behind the ball, you're going to chili dip all day long. If you hover the club at the right height, and then you feel that the low point is there in front of the ball, and you can see the arc in your mind, now you're just letting the ball on the string track, and look at how beautiful that contact is, and I'm going to have fabulous chip shots in the process. So let's look at the irons now. Now this is really exciting. I got a 9-iron. I'm playing a draw, so I'm playing the ball just a smidgen back of center. Now, there's a massive difference. When you're focusing on your low point too much and you're not delivering to the target, this is going to affect the low point massively. When we're doing with the chip shots, there was only one pendulum point involved, your main pendulum point between the two clavicles. This is my main pendulum point here where my shoulder is, and you can see the club is bottoming out in the same place all the time. However, when I get into my backswing, my right arm's going to fold, my wrists are going to hinge. Now the second pendulum point has been activated. So watch how this can really affect your low point. If I go 1, 2, then I'm going to unload pendulum point number 2 first. 1, 2. It's not going to work out very well, is it? So if I'm going to the target, it would look like this. 1, 2, 1. See where my hands are now? In front of the ball, just like when I'm chipping. Then the club is coming down, catches the ball, continues coming down to take out the turf here in the low point, and then comes back up. So the point where my club actually catches up with my hands is right about here, past the ball. So a really easy tip. All I'm going to do is take grass from here, and I'm going to whip it into the screen. So if my attention is on there where the target is, and I'm taking grass from here, and I'm going to send it out to the screen, look where the club keeps bottoming out. Out in front of the ball. So I get my setup. I let the club hover slightly behind the ball. You'd be amazed at how many players on tour hover the club behind the ball and never ground the club. Jack Nicklaus was the most famous one. Matt Kuchar, Phil Mickelson, you watch them. They're hovering the club off the ground. They don't have it grounded. So I'm setting up here, and I'm getting ready to send this divot of grass right here. So my eyes are right there on the grass in front of the ball, but I'm hovering off the ground here, so I feel like I have access to that grass. So I'm going to whip those grass clippings to the right of that intermediate point with some nice momentum. Let's find out how that goes. And that was extremely well struck. And there we have it. Beautiful draw onto the green. My carrier with that 9-iron was 155. And it felt very flush. So let's have a look at the driver. Driver is a big deal, isn't it? So you look at where I'm setting up the driver. Doesn't that look like I'm going to be catching it on the way up? So many of you set up and face the ball. Now from there you can see that it's pop fly city. The club goes up from there, comes back down under the ball, and then only comes back up over here. So obviously that's going to be a disaster, and that's what entices so many of you to play it on a low tee, but then you're really not maxing, you know, your driver out very well. The numbers are going to be very poor. So in order for me to catch this on the way up, I need to know where my low point is. So if I swing back and through, now you guys can see where the low point is, and you can see that it's here and that the club is catching the tip of the tee on the way up. So I want to put the tip of this tee in the way of my arc. That would put me here. This was Mo Norman, master of the driver. So if I wanted to play a little fade, I would aim a little bit to the left and put myself in a position where I feel like my arc is going to catch the tip of the tee on the way up. So now from there, if I maintain that, notice my head and my tilt in my body. This allows me to stay low on the backswing, come back down around that axis. Can you see how my hands are already on the way up as the club is still coming down? And then the club will catch that on the way up and to the left of that intermediate point for that lovely little fade. So I'm staying to the left and I'm staying to the left. And then look at that lovely, tidy little fade. I've got 277 yards carry. And man, that was just super accurate. Right in the center of that club face, you'll see that lovely impact. And there's my first drive of the day. Exactly how I wanted to produce, because it was so clear in my mind, it was actually inevitable for me to have success with that, okay? So stay tuned for our last excerpt. You guys are going to have a great time watching how simple, once you have this in your mind, it really doesn't matter where you start the club. So check this out. One of the things that drives me nuts from Sav is that when she sets the club up, it looks like she's going to do a pop fly. But she went down to number 7 in the world of long drive. So who am I to say boo to her, right? And every time I did that, it would make her too conscious down here of what's going on. She just grounds the club wherever, and she's dialed into that flight plan of where she's hitting the ball. Yeah. So have a look, you'll see what I mean. Nice ball there, Sav. Beauty. So, as you can see, the vast majority of our clients would pop fly the bejesus out of that thing.
Yeah, see, I never see that. I look at it and I'm like, it's fine.
It's fine, right? So in her eyes, she sees the target, she sees her flight, and she knows where she is in space. And for those of you who don't, that's why this video was created. So we hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.